Hello everybody and welcome to Late Night Creations. Welcome back if you're a subscriber and welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to make the cutest little collection of houses that I got from Dollar Tree, and oh my goodness, they turned out so cute. A little bit of a struggle with one, but stay tuned to watch how perseverance pays. Let's get started. These are the little houses I picked up at Dollar Tree. They have them most all the time. I took the labels off, kind of sanded all that sticky off, got them all nice and clean, and I'm going to use some chalk paint by Rust-Oleum in linen, which is a white, and some aged gray. I'm going to do one of them gray and 3 of them white, and I'm going to do the back and the sides. I'm going to use the back of these, and I'm going to give them all a good coat. I do 1 coat of gray, 2 coats of white. Okay, so then I'm going to use some of these craft sticks, and I cut them all to make some little rooftops. So I just put them on there and I just measured them out. I used my scissors to cut them, and then a little bit of sandpaper to make the edges smooth. And they just fit on there nice and even. So then I'm going to paint them to contrast. I just did some of them black, some of them white. I think black and white are the only colors I use. No, I did think I did some of them gray. So you'll see as we get into this. I just didn't want to bore you with lots of painting when there's a lot of fun elements in this. So I did paint this tall white one with the antique wax by Waverly to make it look like wood grain, because this is MDF or something like MDF, and so it didn't have a wood grain. Couldn't make it look like wood, stained wood. Couldn't stain it. So this looks like stained wood when you get through. I used this kind of roughed up chippy brush, and I kind of didn't make, you see how I'm kind of making little swirls and not making it all real straight so that it kind of looks a little bit more like wood grain. There we go. I'm going to let it dry really good, and I think I go to another project before I come back to this one. Yes, I'm going to go to this little white house, and I'm going to put my little black roof on it to see where I need to place this little stencil I made. So I made this stencil on my Cricut to put some windows on this little house. So there's 4 little houses in total. I don't want you to get confused because I kind of go a little bit back and forth to work on them while paint dries. So I'm going to use my transfer paper, sticky paper, to put this stencil on. And I don't really measure it. I just kind of put it on there. I do kind of measure it to see that it's straight, and it's straight enough. I don't typically measure. I just eyeball it. And it was on there pretty straight. And then I'm going to use the aged gray and a makeup sponge, and I'm just going to dab, 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 dab till I get it on there all good, and make sure that there's not any white showing through anywhere. And you know, you can do 2 or 3 coats, however much that you want to do. It depends on how much coverage you want. I wanted a pretty good coverage because this is more of a modern look, so I didn't want it to look too distressed. And then I'm just going to cut that tip off because I can use this sponge again and again. You know, that's probably the second time I've used it because it was kind of short. And I'm just going to peel this stencil off to reveal our little windows, and they came out really good. And if you have a little bit of bleeding somewhere, then you can just touch it up with white paint. It worked really good. So now on the top of here, I'm going to put a little, I forget what you call that, a little sign that has the house number on it. I think there's a name for that. If you know, leave a comment down below and let me know. Or you could use a little, what is that, a craft stick, and cut it the length you want and just sand the edges a little bit round. And that looks really cute. You could put some antique wax on it and then write with a marker the house number. I cut this little piece of paper out with a Cricut. You could write it. But I have this balsa wood. It's really thin. And I'm going to cut out with my X-Acto knife. I used that piece that I cut out with my Cricut. I could have cut this out with my Cricut, but I misplaced the housing for my deep blade. So I just ended up doing it with my X-Acto knife. It was super easy to cut. You see me cutting it there. It's really thin, super easy to cut. It's very fragile too. So I took some sandpaper and very gently sanded it to round the edges and to make the edges smooth. It doesn't look like super great, but it looks a little bit, you know, I don't know, wonky. But I like how it turned out. And I'm going to paint it with the Antique Wax by Waverly so that it looks like wood grain, so it looks stained. And I think it turns out really cute. And I end up using a Sharpie marker to put the number on there. And it kind of didn't work real good because, you know, the wax got on the marker. I should have used a paint marker instead. But, I mean, it worked out okay. But it just would have been better if I had used the paint marker. But I'm making these little houses for my adorable daughter-in-law, who I dearly love. And so she likes all things Farmhouse. So I thought these would be really cute for her to put on the mantle of her fireplace or on her piano. Or she's got some really cute places in her house that she could definitely put these. So these are some options I'm showing you that you could do with some paper or some craft sticks. And then I'm practicing on here to write their house number. I'm practicing on the back of the one I'm actually going to use. And it worked really good on there because I didn't have that waxy, that waxy stain. It's not really a stain, it's a wax. So it works pretty good the first little bit. So I get to that third and fourth number and that wax is all over the tip of my Sharpie. But you see it worked out okay. It just would have been better. Now, I want to put some of this wax. It's a paste wax to seal that paint in case it gets dusty. She can dust it. Now I'm going to trace around this black paper, and because there's a kind of a border on the lip of that on the inside, you're going to see when I flip it over. I cut on the inside of this. There's probably an easier way to do it, and I did have to keep trimming it down to make it fit inside there. And then I kind of got it a little bit short, so I had to add an extra piece. So I just wanted it to be a little bit more finished out and not those bright colors showing. So yeah, there I had to add an extra piece. You know, I kind of work harder, not smarter sometimes. But by the time I got to the fourth one, y'all, I had it figured out. That's usually how I do things. But anyway, they all got covered, and it's fine. I did kind of take my Sharpie and cover those straps at the top up so that you couldn't see it. Anyway, they look fine. I just didn't want all those bright colors showing. So all 4 of the houses got that black paper inside where those colors are. And then I just take some hot glue and glue down those painted craft sticks for our little roof pieces. I always have a trouble saying that word as a Southern girl. The roof. The roof. The roof. It sounds weird to me. Okay, so then look how cute. I love it. That one would look cute too. Either way, I think it looks cute. So I'm just going to hot glue it down. I'm loving how this turned out. Thumbs up. Yep, my little makeup brush to dust off all the crumbs. Okay, now we're going to work on the next little house. This is the gray one with the little black roof. Oh my gosh, I'm going to... You know, after you say something a few times and then it just doesn't sound right no matter how you say it. Okay, house top. I'm going to call it a house top in this video. Okay, cut this out on my Cricut and going to place it on here. Now, if you don't have a Cricut, you could use stickers. Dollar Tree has lots of stickers. Hobby Lobby has a lot of stickers. I had some I was going to show you, and I think I cut that part out or something. I know I had them laying there in the beginning of this video. Oh boy. Anyway, there are a lot of sticker options if you don't have a Cricut. So, yeah, a lot of cute ones. So I'm just going to glue that down, and that one's done. Turned out really cute. And then I'm going to take this wax by Minwax. It's a paste wax. I love this stuff. I've had it for years, and you can see I still have quite a bit left in that can. I did my whole piano. I've done several bookshelves, chairs. I've done a lot of things with this wax, lots of projects, and I still have a ton left. Okay, this house was the problem child. I didn't show the step where I put some Mod Podge on top because I thought if I put the Mod Podge on top that the vinyl would stick, because we know the vinyl's not going to stick to that wax, that antique wax. So here I go with the Mod Podge. I am showing you. I'm putting the Mod Podge on, thinking that vinyl is going to stick to it. Okay, y'all, it sounds good, right? Just going to put a thin coat on there. So when I put my vinyl letters on there, they're going to stick, because I know they'll stick to Mod Podge. So I'm letting that dry. And I actually let it dry overnight, because by the time I got to this house, it was getting really late. So I decided that from this balsa wood, I was going to put this vinyl 6 on here and cut it out with my X-Acto knife. Sounds like a great idea, right? It was really easy to cut out. It went really smoothly, so I thought, and you're going to see. I mean, it really wasn't bad, but I just really didn't like the way it looked when I got it finished, because, well, I just didn't like it. So here you go. Sorry my hair is all up in the way, but I was trying to get to where I could see what I was doing and sometimes you just have to be on top of the project, you know? So here it is. And I tried to sand the edges so they would be smooth, and I would have probably could have taken some, black paint and painted the edges, or a black Sharpie, or a black paint pen. But by this time, like I'm telling you, it was probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was kind of done. I was getting tired, not making good choices, good decisions, and it was time to go to bed. And I was trying to sand this little 6 down and make it look cute, and it was breaking and cracking, and yeah, I don't know. I was just sort of done with it. You can see I'm trying to be very fragile. Yeah. Anyway, I was working really hard. So don't forget, please subscribe to my channel, because I work really hard to try to show you guys some good content here. And it all turns out good in the end. But I do want to show you that there are options, and things don't always turn out like you want them to, so we go to plan B. So see, the 6 didn't turn out too bad. I really wanted some different dimensions and stuff to it, but I decided not to use that. Toss it aside, and let's just go with the original, decal I made on my Cricut. So it turned out great. I love it. So here we go. A little bit of wax, because I really do want her to be able to dust them. There we go, or somebody. Okay, here we go. Back to our problem child. Now, when I painted this, it got a little glob of paint on there, so I'm just sanding them so that they're going to fit smoothly together, sit on there the way I want it to. Okay, so far so good, right? Everything's looking good. Oh, just wait for it. Okay, look at all those E's. Briley, Aubrey, Desiree, and their last name has lots of E's as well. So here we go. I start to peel it up, and I'm throwing a temper tantrum now. Oh, look at my head in my hands. I'm not crying, but I want to. Okay. So as I pull it off, all of that stuff comes off. The wax, the Mod Podge, everything. Oh man, I wanted to cry. I did not cry, but I wanted to. So, I sanded, I repainted, I restained, I let it dry. Here we go again. So, it's all dry. So I cut out some more words, some more names, and I'm just using those little Jenga blocks, tumbling tower blocks, as a guide to make it straight. And I just put them on individually by hand. And guess what? They're not all straight. They're not all even. It's a little organic. How about that? But it looks awesome compared to what I went through to get these names on this little house. And then they weren't, I put the names closer together, not the letters closer together, but the names closer together. So I had too much space at the top. Oh boy, I'm a mess. So can you see that space I'm showing you? Because the names, were not as long. That's okay. I won't be a problem solver. So I thought I would cut out a little, attic window. Yeah, right? And it looks okay. But it just really, it wasn't wide enough. I don't know. I didn't like it. So here we go. I'm going to make a bow out of a little scrap of ribbon I had from something. I tried with that wider ribbon and it was too wide. So I'm just going to make a simple bow, 2 bunny ear bow, with the bunny ears. And, I fiddle with bows way too much. There's another good Southern term for you, fiddle. And then I'm just going to stick it up there on top, and it turned out super cute. Now, I don't like to pull them really, really tight, because then that little centerpiece gets really small. And so I just leave it a little bit loose so that the little centerpiece is not so tight. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to dovetail the ends and make that little bow on there. I'm going to hot glue it to the center of that house, and these 4 little houses are done. So I persevered with this stained house, and guess what? It turned out cute. You'd never know that I had to redo it and redo it and redo it. I was going to stencil the names on, but
so I'm making these for my daughter-in-law, and she's a sweetheart, and she loves all things Farmhouse. So what do you think? Do you think she's gonna like these? Would you like these? How would you do them different? How would you make them suit your taste? Leave a comment below. Also, if you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to get notified.